Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video for you all. We're currently in Pensacola, Florida. A couple of weeks ago, we were actually on a live TV show, and I wanted to share that with you guys. We were on there for about an hour, just kind of talking about bus life, talking about Isaiah's, Lego stop motion work and his video work, and Arwen's coffee and all that good stuff, and also the services and the meetings we've been holding throughout the United States. And so we kind of talked about all those things. I wanted to share it with you guys. I also posted it on our Hunger for Revival YouTube channel, but here it is. And let us know what you think about it in the comment section. It was actually a fun interview. We don't really do a lot of TV stuff like that, but it was fun to do. And so let us know what you think. Here it is.
Dr. J.T. Guyton.
I'm excited about our guests. I've been following them for a while on YouTube, and they've been a blessing to me, and I know they're going to be a blessing to you tonight as well. So call all of your friends, family, everybody right now. Tell them to tune into Celebration because you're going to meet the good family, and we're going to talk a little bit about bus life. And they live on a bus, and yet they travel and hold revival meetings as well. As you all know, we have been building for the last year our mobile production bus that we call Hazel. And so as I started searching, this one thing kept coming up on YouTube when I would type in schoolie or school bus conversion, what have you, and it was the bus life. It was actually worth watching. And so as we began to follow and watch them, I immediately sent Shane a message and said, when you guys come south, I want to have you on our show. And the whole family's actually here, but we're not going to have the whole family on the show tonight, right? But right up here, right now, we've got Shane and Julie and Isaiah, and your daughter's going to join it. One of your daughters is going to join us here in just a little bit. So let me ask you this. I want to talk about what you guys do as far as revival and what have you, but what made you decide this is what we're going to do? We're going to build a bus.
So it would have started when I was actually a child.
Okay.
And my parents were moving from Washington State. My dad was actually from Florida.
Okay.
My mom and her family's from Washington State. And so they wanted to move. And they were looking at prices of U-Hauls and stuff like that, okay. And then discovered that, wait a second, why don't we just buy an old bus? And it ended up being actually a lot cheaper. Yeah. So as a kid, I think I was 5, 6 years old, something like that. It was, we did this, they put some bunk beds in and a little Coleman stove and different things like that. And then the back half of the bus was all of our belongings. And just as a kid, it was like the most adventurous thing.
Right.
I could ever, me and my sister loved it. So traveling, from Washington all the way down to Florida, it was one of those kind of unforgettable journeys.
Oh, yeah.
And we loved it.
Yeah.
Anytime we moved, we always used the bus.
Okay.
And so when we decided that we wanted to move actually to Washington State, we wanted to go to Washington State and build a house and have a nice little happy ever after life,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why don't we build a bus out and travel, put all of our stuff in it and move. And that was the plan. So that's how it originally started. And that was our first bus. We finished it and took our maiden voyage in 2010.
Okay. Now at this time, how many children did you have?
5.
Yeah, we had 5 when we first started.
So there were 7 of you on the bus.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
And that was 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
And today there are
10 children, so
10
12
children.
in all on the bus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they range from
Isaiah.
So they range from 19 to
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Wow. That has to be an adventure, right?
It is. We love it.
Yeah.
So I think 4 of our children have been born on the bus.
Like literally.
Yeah.
Now that's kind of. That's not even something that's on YouTube, so that's kind of breaking news here.
Yeah, okay.
So you're in on the scoop.
All right. I feel important now. And when you live that life, you really get to experience things
Oh, yeah.
that so many people do not get to experience this day and time. Yes, when I first found you guys, I did what so many other people have done. I go back, start watching everything from the beginning, right, so I can get caught up. I love to see what's going on because y'all have so much going on from school
Yep.
to just normal day-to-day life to where we're going to go next or where we're
Yes.
parking tonight and all that stuff. My favorite, one of my favorites, it was y'all were somewhere and it was just snow.
Okay, yeah.
I think y'all were like in a
Colorado,
Home Depot.
probably.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Y'all were in like a Home Depot parking lot or
Yeah.
something and talking about how much warmer it was in the bus, of course, than out here in the snow. So all these adventures on the bus life.
Yes.
And I know some people maybe cannot wrap their minds around living in a bus.
I think that it's been helpful that we raised our children
Yeah.
doing bus life. So, I remember in the infancy of bus life that it had probably way more challenges because I think it took about, if I try to remember back, but it took about 3 weeks for us to adjust to like the small space.
Yeah.
And most of my children were like below my elbow height, so like you weren't hitting into them as much. But as they grew up, that you were like, okay, you're in my space. Like this is my space right here.
The space,
you know?
yeah.
But so in the beginning years, we did bus life on and off. And so I actually found it more difficult, believe it or not, to do bus life when I was living in a house, say for, the winter months and then going back to bus life because I wasn't committed to it. I was like, okay, I know later on, a few more months and then we'll be back in a house. But when we went full time, which we've been doing now for 6 years, that it was actually easier because I was like committed in my heart. So it's actually interesting because it shows how much is in our heart, that our happiness is determined only by our hearts. It's not by our living circumstances.
Let me ask you, Isaiah, you told me in the back a while ago, you were how old when y'all started this adventure?
Just turned 8.
Just turned 8.
Yeah.
And you said that this is what you want to do.
Yeah,
your
so
life.
as soon as I'm starting to move into the stage of moving out, and
Yeah.
I'm planning on getting my own rig, possibly a Mercedes Sprinter, that would be nice,
Yeah.
and converting it into my own living home. And I do videos, and
Right.
I'm into videography, and that's kind of what I want to do for a living. And it'd be nice to kind of build it that is sustainable for the work I do. And I do Lego stop motion. And so it would be nice to make a little spot to have a little studio area where I can do my stop motion work. And
They were just showing some of your Lego stuff on the screen.
Yeah, for sure. And then I also do cinematography.
Okay.
I really love doing that kind of stuff.
And that's some of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, and then the Lego stop motion, of course, takes like so much more time and is a lot more time consuming than like cinematography or videography.
What's some of the adventures that y'all have gotten into out there?
Oh, gosh. Well, one thing that was kind of really interesting is our plans and our goal was, like I said, to move to Washington State.
Yeah.
So we left, went up to Canada to visit her family.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I always tell people we got snowed in for 5 years because of how cold it gets there. But we literally stayed in Canada for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And never made it to Washington. We still haven't made it to Washington today because ultimately the Lord just had a different plan for us.
Yeah.
And it was, kind of in that place that we, I guess the Lord really started to do a work in us and, started leading us to more outreach.
Yeah.
So
Y'all have been to some really cool places.
Yes.
Like, I can't remember, there was one where y'all actually went, help me out here, there were just these tons of old books.
yes, okay,
Oh.
that was the Lamplighter Ministry.
The Lamplighter,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, so that was really cool. They're in New York.
Yes.
Okay.
And kind of an interesting story about that. And we have an episode on our channel about that. But so Lamplighter, in a nutshell, they take old books and they republish them.
They have to be at least 100 years older.
Yeah. And then they republish them.
Yeah.
And my mom had been given a book by her grandmother.
Okay.
And it was a book that was
really
precious.
old.
So really old, you know.
Gotcha.
And she sent that to Lamplighter, and then they published it. So that was really cool. So, you know, in the book it says, you know, given to us by Kathy Good.
Yeah.
And so we had that kind of connection there. So we wanted to go there and film kind of all the books they had there, and then find that book. Yeah. So I think the name of the episode, if you want to see it, is In Search of a 200-Year-Old Book.
Right.
I think is the name of it.
And it's the thing I like most about that episode, well, that ministry and visiting there, is they do audio dramas, and they are so good.
Yeah.
So I think we have all the audiobooks, correct?
I think so. Could be wrong, though. I think the kids maybe said there's a few out there, but I think we pretty much have them all.
So they listen to them over and over again, and the awesome thing about it is they're stories that build character, you know, and they're all faith-based. So, so it's something I feel good about our children listening to, and we don't watch movies, so they listen. It's actually really funny, because when we were transitioning out of allowing our children to watch movies all the time, our daughter Kira, she was probably about 6 at the time, and she's like, could I watch, you know, some movie? And I'm like, no, Kira, how about you use your brain and you sit down and listen to an audiobook or something? And she's like, I think I'm going to save my brain for something special. I was like, oh.
All right.
So she's the sassy one of our family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most kids would never get to experience and see so much that
Yes.
you have all these years
Yes.
now, and the others coming up are getting to experience. And it's just, I think it's just awesome. One of my favorite episodes is called A Death in the Family.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That one is a sad one.
yeah, it was a sad one. And I'm like, okay, so I checked this out. I don't cry a whole lot, but I cried on this one. So, like my mom the other day, she and I were talking, and that's the episode I sent Mom to watch.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm like, you'll be crying in a little bit, but go ahead and watch it. Called A Death in the Family.
Yeah.
Once again, go check this out on YouTube, and tell us your YouTube page that they need to go check out.
Trash Can Films on YouTube.
Trash Can Films. Now, where did that name come from?
That's kind of a little bit of a long story. I don't know. We were like just kind of, I mean, in the beginning stages, this was like, what, 5-6 years ago? And of course, I had my channel around for a little longer than that, but we didn't really have a good name developed yet. And we just, I don't know, started thinking. I'd done some Lego stop motion videos before thinking of the name, and there was always this green little trash can in the background, not intentionally, but there always was. And so we're like, what if we just called it Trash Can Films? And so, I mean, we kind of went back and forth, and we're like, let's try it. Let's try it.
I think he's gotten some interesting comments from people about his channel. And when he was younger, he didn't like that he was getting negative comments about it. And I'm like, hey, but they will never forget the name of your channel. No. It's stuck. It's engraved.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So what got you into the video part of doing the bus life?
So the very first video we put on our channel was we were building out our first bus. And at that point, I was blogging everything. Yeah. So I would work on the bus all day, take a bunch of pictures, sit down and just blog everything we did. So it was because when I was doing our bus conversion, there wasn't many people at that time doing it. Yeah. And the ones that were being done were like, you know, I bought a bus, I put a couch in it, I've got an RV, you know, it's like, and so I wanted to give people a resource because I never had one. Right. So I wanted to create a resource for people to be able to, you know, do what we were doing, because our first bus was actually very nice. Yeah. And so it started with just that. So our first video I put on was just a bunch of pictures and like, you know, some narration over it. and that video got like 1 million views.
Right.
And it's like the worst quality video, you know, it's terrible.
Yeah. But then everybody started asking, please give us a walkthrough of your bus, give us a walkthrough. So we decided to do a video.
Yeah.
Well, those videos were very helpful to us building Hazel, that's for sure. And you y'all do like these meet and greets.
Yes.
You go to these different towns. I like those videos too, because like people y'all don't know, they just come up and they're like, we want to see your bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those have been really cool, not just the ministry aspect of it, but you know, it's really helped us, I think, because we'll have people like yourself who've watched us.
Yeah.
We had never met them before. And I've had people walk up to me and say, man, I just feel like you're my brother.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I've never met you before.
Right.
But it's really taught us to just be like, just relaxed around people and just welcoming and hey, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
you know?
And it gives us so much opportunity to be able to actually get used to approaching people as well, because they are basically approaching us, and people feel so comfortable around us because they've gotten to know us through video.
There's the family unit that y'all have that draws so many people to watch that, because it's cool to see families working together, doing anything together anyway.
Yeah.
But then it's, as we watch, you know, like Isaiah does the video stuff, and then your oldest daughter that we're going to meet here in a few minutes, Arwen, she has her niche that everybody has a job. And then your one son, I don't know if he's the next to the oldest, but I guess he kind of helps you with the bus actually.
Oh,
now.
Ashton.
Because I've noticed on a few of them, he knows where all the tools are.
Right,
and
exactly, that's Ashton.
how to get everything. And I probably need him to come travel with us on Hazel, since I don't know anything about all the mechanics stuff.
And it's been awesome, because not only do we get to spend life together, you know, people have asked us, how do you sustain this? How do you pay for your life on the road? And, you know, we'll pick up carpentry jobs. So we'll do carpentry work, or we've actually helped people build out buses. And what's awesome about it is I'm home more than probably most dads are home. So I get to, you know, be around the family. And to me, it's awesome. And we get to do life together, adventures together. You know, when we were in Colorado, we parked out in the middle of nowhere for like a month straight, and just at the base of this big mountain, and it's just beautiful, and you know, out with the kids hiking around and doing stuff all the time. It's just awesome.
We have footage of that.
Our kids are all homeschooled, of course, and so we've gotten to spend that actually crucial and special time of their childhood with our children. And I think a lot of the time that's given away to school teachers, and not to diminish school teachers, because they do a great job. But that, for me, I was just like, you know what, I want to spend those years with my children and those crucial years of their life.
Absolutely.
And so we use Rod and Staff for our curriculum. And especially having 10 children, the thing I love about that curriculum is that they can basically sit down with their own lessons and read over it and do most of the work without my help. So and all of our children are super motivated. They've learned that if they get their work done quickly, then it's done, and they have the rest of they can play and have adventure.
That's
so
awesome.
all of them graduated. Well, the top 4 graduated, 3. The top 3 are graduated, almost 4th graduated already.
You get to meet another member of the family, and this is Arwen. And she has a company called Roadway Coffee. And I get some right here, Roadway Coffee. I'm excited about this. So what got you into this coffee world?
So it was kind of a couple years ago. We were, traveling and stuff, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was always super hard to find freshly roasted coffee while we were traveling, and we kind of became coffee snobs. And so, we were traveling, couldn't find fresh roasted coffee, and so we were like, why don't we just, start roasting our own coffee and make it how we want it, and
So you do this on the bus for the family. I know your dad probably makes you do this 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I've noticed you do this as well for the revival meetings that y'all hold. Set up and do that. One question, you may have a video. How do y'all get all those cool little designs in the middle of the coffee? Is that like a...
Yeah, so that's called latte art.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much just comes with practice, and it's pretty much the way you pour your frothed milk into your espresso.
I got you. See, there's an art all within
There is.
itself to have that. And I'm telling you, this is amazing. This is great coffee. Now, they can order your coffee, and the website is
Roadwaycoffee.com.
roadwaycoffee.com, and y'all will ship it
Yep.
right out to them. So what's some of the flavors or the different
The roast.
roast?
Yeah.
So
The
we-
roast.
The
You
roast.
gotta know
Sorry.
your terms.
That's right. I'm talking to coffee snobs here. I got to get it together.
Yeah, so we have like several different roasts. We have our medium, our light, our dark roast, and then we have in between roasts. So we have like one of our roasts are called Misty Mountain Morning, and that's our light roast.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just one of 7 or 8 roasts that we have. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you need to check that website out. They're going to put it up
So
on the screen.
this
for
one
you.
that you're drinking right here is the Mexican Cafe.
Yeah. So that's the
that's
Mexican
that's
cafe.
the one we serve at like all of our events and things like that, and it's probably my favorite. They're all great. So like it'll be like, oh, here's a new one. Try that. Oh, this is great. Oh, I like that one too. I like that one.
Yeah.
So
I feel honored. Nobody else on the set got coffee but me.
yeah, I know. So where's mine?
I feel honored. You can have yours after the show.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't want you to spill it. Did they?
You gotta earn it.
So what would be the one, I guess maybe the one, I don't care if it's an adventure or the one
Yeah.
story or just the one thing that has really stood out to any of you. And we'll just spend just a minute on this where we can get in the ministry that has really, I guess, impacted your lives the most about this bus life.
To be honest, bus life wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't for the ministry aspect of
Yeah.
it. There's something about that going and getting out of your comfort zone, even if it's for a short amount of time. You don't have to do it full time, but just getting out, that initial
Right.
getting out. And there's one girl in particular that she just has a special place in my heart, but we met her at a house church that we were invited to, and she was just very gothic, depressed looking, and I later found out that she was stoned when I met her at the house church. And so she was kind of in another world during the meeting. But she ended up coming to one of our meetings, and I knew in my heart I want to push through and reach out to this girl and to spend some time talking to her. And that's one thing that we love to do, is spend time with people, love on people. And so this girl, I went and started talking to her, and she just would not hold a conversation with me. And so it was hard to like push through, but I was like, I'll just continue. And I talked to her for a while, and then later on throughout the weekend, I kept talking to her, and her attitude was kind of like, why do you want to talk to me? Leave me alone.
Right.
But she still continued to come to our meetings and stayed. So, but she had a struggle in her life because she had been through so much. She had been an indentured slave here in America, and of the worst kind possible. And she just had a horrible life, was into witchcraft, and inside she was dying.
Yeah.
Literally, she looked like a corpse on the outside. If you would have met her, you would have been like, this girl is dying, her heart is dying. And anyway, but when she chose, ultimately, because we loved her so much, she chose to answer the call. The Lord was calling to her, and she just answered. And she went through major deliverance, had a lot of demonic stuff come out of her. And get this, okay, she was so transformed that when she went home, her neighbor's dog that she walked regularly, she knew the dog knew her, bit her face because the dog didn't recognize her.
Whoa.
And it was just crazy. And so she later on, so that's the thing about people choose Jesus, but they don't have people to walk them through this walk.
Right.
And it can be a hard walk. And there's got to be that discipleship and true love. And it was so cool because she was having a hard time, and she came to us, and she was embarrassed to come to us because I think she had this thought process that when you come to the Lord, everything becomes peachy. Mm-hmm. It's going to be perfect. Yeah. But you've got these struggles that you need to overcome. Sure. And when you come to the Lord, it's like, and you get set free, especially from demonic stuff, it's like the smoke is cleared out of the room, but you've got open doors in your life. You've got dirt in the pile of corners of your room. You've got to start cleaning this stuff up, closing those doors so the demonic doesn't come back in. And so this was a process now that she was having to go through and didn't have anybody to walk that with her. So we actually had on the road a camper that we were bringing along with us, and we said, you know what, come move in. Come move into the camper, and we'll spend as much time. And actually the Lord said to me, give her 2 weeks of constant attention and she'll be a different person. Wow. And so we devoted those 2 weeks to her, and I tell you, she was even on pharmaceuticals and felt a conviction to get off of them. She got off the pharmaceuticals, got off of the drugs, got off of everything, and then
like a different person.
Yeah, was a totally different person. And
amazing.
Yeah, and so
that's what people need today is love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love her. I love her so much. Yeah.
So. Just a little bit of our time can go a long way in somebody's life. Yeah. We never know what they're going through, what they're dealing with. So that's powerful. Now, y'all kind of went around and ministered before the Hunger for Revival movement kind of started. Y'all kind of done that, led worship, preached and what have you before the Hunger for Revival.
Yeah, so we were just basically doing whatever ministry kind of came up, and the Hunger for Revival thing actually started very spontaneously. You know, both of us kind of have a revival in our DNA. I was a part of the Brownsville revival. Julie was a part of the Toronto blessing. And so we've always had that fire burning in there, I guess you could say. And really what it came down to is we were invited to come to this ex-Mennonite, old order Mennonite home church. And they're like, you know, we've heard about what's happening. Can you guys come and minister? So we went up there, and this was in Kentucky. Yeah. And the Lord broke out in this home church, and there was people getting delivered, there's people getting set free, some healings happened. Julie ministered a lot with the women and different things, and it was just this powerful moment.
Probably the thing that stood out to me in that meeting was how many of them didn't know the gospel.
Whoa.
Yes.
And when they heard the gospel, it was alive, and they responded. And
so try to make this condense here. They basically said, hey, we love what happened here. Do you guys want to come back? We'll get a venue, and you guys can, you know, do a 3 or 4 day event. So we're like, okay, sure. Then I'm thinking, well, I don't want to just do it all by ourselves. I had some people we could pull from. Yeah. So Corey and Hannah, who were traveling with us at the time, they were a part of it, and then some other people came in, and this team formed. And it's basically the team that travels with us now with Hunger for Revival. It's the easiest planning. There was no planning really involved. It just came together, happened, and that event was really powerful. And then we thought it was just going to be one event. And then it was like someone else invited us, hey, do you guys want to come do it in Springfield, Missouri? And at first we were calling it just the Bus Life Tour. That's what it was called. And so then it kept kind of like, then it just kind of kept happening. And I'm like, well, how about, you know, let's come up with, you know, Hunger for Revival, because really it's all hunger for Jesus, right? It's all hungering after him. But for the church to be revived, for the church to be really brought back to the place that we're supposed to be in. And it's been great. So in our events, it's equipping, we're doing worship, we're equipping, we're taking people out on the streets to pray for people. We're seeing people. Just offhand, in Nixa, Missouri, there was a guy that came to our meeting, and the reason he came was to get deliverance. So he came to the meeting, he knew he needed deliverance, he was set free. And now this is a guy that's been raised in the church his whole life. Yeah. Well, after being in the meeting and going back home, he started praying for people and started immediately seeing people get healed. He'd never seen that before. He was preaching the gospel. People were getting saved. It was just this really powerful thing. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of that happen, and it's been awesome.
Yes. Wow. So. What do you think? We've talked a lot about revival this afternoon.
Yes.
And everybody has a different idea. Some think they're more right than others on what revival really is and how revival can take place. From your perspective, I mean, being a part of such a great move of God as Brownsville was, being a part of that and seeing all the things that God did, what do you think that real revival is?
So I think ultimately, if you look in Scripture, the people that hungered for Jesus were the ones that were filled, and I really think, I think of stories like blind Bartimaeus who just screamed out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And, Jesus turns, what do you want me to do for you? As if he didn't know. But sometimes I think the Lord just wants to be asked.
Sure.
And then the Lord heals him. But I think what we've seen is when there's a lack of hunger for the Lord. We have a lot of churches across this country, and a lot of the churches across this country that have not much life in them.
Amen.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you walk in there and you start talking to the people, you'll find that there's a lack of hunger for Jesus, that lack of falling on your knees and crying out like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want you, Lord. I know there's more. I mean, we serve an infinite God, and there's so much of him that we don't know about. And I think revival, when we are hungering for him and we start tasting that a little bit of what there is of the Lord, it causes you to even hunger more. And what we've seen is when hunger is sparked even, like we'll have people come into our meetings that have never, they don't even know on the grid what revival looks like. They don't even necessarily know what it is to hunger for the Lord. But when they come in and they see others who are hungry and they see the Lord touching them, it sparks something in them. So sometimes it's just simple, someone who is hungering can spark others to hunger.
I was just glanced at some of the B-roll that they'd been playing when we were in the control room earlier. And there was this one shot, and they make him pull it back up. This guy just laying on the floor. And you can just tell he is in some intense moments with God. And when I think of revival and I think of that hunger, that's what I think about, because even the meetings that I've been a part of where God has really manifested himself, people that are hungry, they get to that point where they just don't care that there might be some dirt on the floor. They don't care. They just want to get down and they just want to get to a humble, worshipful place and just say, give me more.
That's right.
Yes.
More of you, God.
Yeah, and even if you think of the story of Jezebel and King Ahab, right? Is it King Ahab? Yeah, and who was spared? Ahab, he was the king, and what did he do? He got on his face. He got in sackcloth and ashes and got on his face and repented, and he was spared. Even all the atrocities that he and his wife conducted, and so whenever it's sin that separates us from God. Actually, the simple gospel is that God came because he wanted to have a relationship with us and us to have a relationship with him, and that Jesus came so we could get back to the place of having a relationship. Amen. And when we are having that relationship with him and knowing him, that there's life, taste and see that the Lord is good. So many of us aren't tasting and seeing. And I think that what it's become is Christianity's become a hobby. Something that we do, not something that we are. We should be. We should be like Jesus. Actually, that's what Christian means.
Absolutely.
To be Christ-like, to be like Jesus. Are we preaching the gospel? Are we healing the sick, casting out demons? He said, all authority's been given to me, so go. I'm commissioning you to go. I'm giving this to you freely as a gift to do all these things. In fact, he said, greater things will you do than me. I'm not walking on water, so I know Jesus is not a liar and there must be more.
Yeah, and when you think he raised the dead.
Yeah.
And we've
That's
seen stories. We've had people on this program that have prayed and dead have come back. We've had people who were dead and come back to life. My mom died and came back to life. But when you think that we can do something greater than laying hands on dead people, I mean,
that's right.
But we have that kind of power in us as children of God.
Right. And to know him, to know the God that created this universe and that he loves us and wants to have a relationship with us. I mean, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like knowing him.
Knowing him being the key word there. Just like healing. Once you know God wants you healed, it's so much easier to receive it.
And one thing I want to encourage those watching is that this is for, when Jesus said, "Not therefore go," he was not saying it to just the people that stand on stages, the people that are on TV, the people that have YouTube channels. He was saying it to actually everyone. So everyone that is watching, the Lord has called every single one of us to go. And it doesn't mean you have to get on a bus and do what we're doing. But the powerful thing is, I just want to put this into perspective. So 4 years ago, we were really challenged. Someone said very simply that, did you know that Jesus said these signs will follow those that believe? And they're going to heal the sick, cast out demons. They're going to be preaching the gospel. They're going to be baptizing people. Their life will look like the disciples' lives looked in the book of Acts. That's right. And I'm like, well, as a part of revival, and we've seen some of that stuff before, and but I'm not seeing these things. I'm not baptizing anybody. I'm not seeing anybody, any healed people, getting well. I'm not seeing those things like constantly active in my life. And so we just decided to become more intentional in our lives as believers. We decided to turn the TV off, and we decided to examine our lives and say, do we have any open doors? We've learned a lot about open doors. When you have open doors, the enemy in your life, it can wreak havoc. And so you close those doors, and then you start opening the doors to the Lord in your life. And just to give perspective, so 4 years ago, we had baptized nobody. 4 years ago, we had seen no one healed. Okay, fast forward 4 years, we've probably baptized 300 or 400 people.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, major contrast. And that isn't to go, it's because we're some kind of special people. No, actually, it's to show that everyone, God's special. And when we say, Lord, we want your way, and now it's like we can't get away from ministry. It's everywhere we go. We could be at a laundromat and we're, Julie's ministering to somebody, or somebody's coming in to see our bus, and we've just talk about stories. We could literally talk all night about the stories.
Before we go further, and time runs out, the next Hunger for Revival event, I think they're going to put it on the screen for you, it's February the 24th through the 26th. And that's going to be in Pensacola,
Florida. Yep.
And what's the address on that?
So if they go to hungerforrevival.com, they've got the address on the screen. But if they go to hungerforrevival.com, we've got the flyers on there. And they can, I think there's even a link to click for Facebook to just RSVP on there.
And the venue is Potential Church.
Okay.
In Pensacola.
And you said that it's going to be all day on Friday? Is that correct?
So Thursday evening is kind of the kickoff.
Okay.
6:30, Arwen will be serving her coffee, and
gotta go for that.
and then we'll have worship and kind of orientation. People get to know the team and kind of what the weekend looks like, and then all day Friday and all day Saturday.
Okay.
And Friday and Saturday in the afternoons, we have teams that will take people out and go out on the streets and just see the Lord work.
Wow.
Because God delights in using people. And Isaiah will be taking a team out, and Arwen will be taking a team out. And,
awesome. So you need to make your plans to go. Good Lord willing, we're going to come down one night if we can.
That'd be awesome.
And be a part, and we'll bring you some footage and
there
let you see it here on DTV. make sure you go to YouTube and check out the Bus Life. And on there, you can find out more information about the Good Family and the Good News Bus.
Yes.
And or you can go to Hunger for Revival on YouTube.
Yep.
Trash Can
Films.
on YouTube. Or you can go to roadwaycoffee.com and get some coffee, okay?
And come to the event, and we're going to have Hunger for Revival t-shirts.
Well, there you go.
And Bus Life t-shirts and stickers. And we'd love to see you. We'd love to pray for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And once again, that's February 24 through 26.
Yeah.
So make your plans to go right now, February 24 through 26. And that's on Creighton Rd
Yeah.
Yes.
in Pensacola. Or go to hungerforrevival.com.
We tried to push a lot into a small amount of time, didn't we?
Yes.
Y'all probably stayed out more longer than you ever thought you would, but hey.
Hey,
Now
all
y'all-
things work together for
That's
good.
right. Y'all got to see a lot of stuff and be a part of it, and we're thankful for that. So please, like I said, go check out the YouTube, subscribe, click the bell, make sure you like the videos, and comment, all right?
Yeah.
Where you can find out everything that's going on with this family, and hopefully we'll be able to have them back on the program again sometimes when they're back our way. If they don't stay, if they ever make it to Washington, we may never see them again.
Well, if revival breaks out somewhere, I'm staying there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Amen.
There you go. Well, let's pray revival breaks out in
Amen.
Pensacola.
Yes.
They'll be here with
That's
us
right.
for a while. Then
right.
we can broadcast it on the network.
There you go.
God bless you all. Goodbye.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really cool being on there and just sharing our life with the audience. And let us know what you think in the comment section. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. And I had posted a little, I think a couple videos ago that we were moving over to a new platform. But I just want to let you guys know that we're probably going to continue posting content on here as well, just to keep our YouTube audience updated with what's going on. So God bless you guys, and we hope to see you in Pensacola, Florida.